There is no planet B for us. We have to make this one the planet that we can continue to survive on.
Nature can cost you money. It can also earn you money, and indeed it saves us a lot of money.
The Smith School of Enterprise and the Environment brings together two of the greatest actors in this space, which is the world of the environmental communities and the world of business.
The World Forum is an annual event organised by the Smith School here at the University of Oxford.
We try to get to grips with the nitty-gritty of what's going on and the uncomfortable aspects of what's going on. So the World Forum on Biodiversity starts with a premise that actually Nagoya is not enough.
How do we put a value, both a moral value and a price value, a financial value, on the ecosystem services that mankind depends on?
And frankly, a lot of the debate and a lot of the action that is required will be by and with corporations, because they are 3/4 of the global economy, they are 70-odd% of global employment, and they are the largest consumers and takers of resources, natural resources and ecosystem services.
Summer 2011 saw the publication of several reports highlighting the dangers facing global biodiversity. The International Programme on the State of the Ocean reported rising ocean acidity, the threat of mass extinction of ocean species, and the warning that commercial fish stocks could be depleted as early as 2050. And the International Energy Agency reported that CO2 emissions reached a record high in 2010.
We are consuming 1.5 planets every year, if you take into account all that. And basically we are mopping up the capital, natural capital, and not living off the interest, which is what we need to do.
On the one hand, we already have been doing a lot in terms of practical activities, protected areas, contractual protection, sensitization of the public, etc., etc. And on the other hand, it's clear that the order of magnitude of the changes that we're bringing is absolutely not up to the challenge.
Do we need new economic thinking in which we much more readily assign value to these externalities so that our internal economic system is altered in a way that enables us to do this?
The World Forum 2011 pulled together scientists, business leaders, NGOs, economists, financiers, heads of state and artists to share experiences and propose practical ways forward.
The governor of Acre State gave really positive solutions to show what they've been doing in order to maintain and enhance biodiversity and ecosystem services it provides.
Certification of timber production, certification of rubber production, trying to have value added through processing locally.
Tropical fruits, activities with managed wood and timber that allow us to ride first in any other market, not only in South America but also in Asia. This is an investment that we believe greatly that will help to stabilize industrial process with the incorporation of new technologies and environmental preservation.
Even more refreshing in a way was the new government in Colombia. Colombia has hardly been a best case example, and suddenly we have a country which is committing itself to sustainable development.
You said at the opening how Colombia is trying to achieve both sort of sustainable management of resources and poverty alleviation.
One of the mandates the President gave us is that all the ministries, all the departments must support these aims. Within the very projects themselves, we're also seeking what are the royalties on mining, for example. They must also be associated with social projects of great impact.
This year, the Norwegian Climate and Forest Initiative will be spending around $400 million. My government aim is for the annual payments to peak at around $500 million per year. Saving the world's remaining tropical forests is expensive, but it's still in many ways a bargain, the bargain of the century.
Some of today's greatest experts contributed to the World Forum, and videos of all of their presentations and insights remain available on the website www.smithschool.ox.ac.uk.
One thing hasn't changed.
implementation and compliance remain in the hands of nation states. But the key thing is that climate change is projected to become one of the key pressures on biodiversity to 2050. So I'm sorry, you can't avoid the fact that whilst there's an awful lot of local things you need to do, if you don't tackle some of these global things, then all the local things will come to naught.
Culture eats strategy for breakfast. We are strategizing about providing more ecosystem services, whereas our culture is to always consume more.
The World Forum tackled the challenging issues we face in valuing ecosystem services and how to take from this new commitments to strategic action. Working together, participants came up with actionable ideas for change in biodiversity futures, greening the economy, accounting and accountability, new organisational patterns, forests and commodities, and marine ecosystems.
The rate at which these changes are occurring is also, I think, highly significant. The range distribution of species in the ocean is now moving at 50 kilometres per decade. So we can literally look forward to 2050 and think, well, most of what we're trying to manage today here will be 200 kilometres towards the poles and so on.
And I think that a great many of the disappointments and failures that one sees in many efforts on these issues around the world is that the time simply isn't taken with the people of the place, of course, in defining and understanding together what that context is.
So I'm just looking at this sort of advocacy type of approach.
If this was all very, very transparent, I think it would improve a lot.
Lots of new ideas were then shared and discussed by the entire forum.
Context is everything, so let's not say that this kind of marine protected area is better than this other kind in general. Let's not say that market-based instruments are the ultimate silver bullet compared to command and control.
Once collated, these sometimes radical proposals will form the basis for the forthcoming Smith School report on valuing ecosystem services, as well as influencing the wider work of the Smith School. Dr. Wilkinson will be leading the Smith School Futures programme on marine enterprise over the coming years.
We're not masters of the future and our destiny, but we are creators of the present and the near future. And it's better if we create that with a longer term future in mind.
So, what were the general lessons of the World Forum 2011?
We're starting to grapple with what used to be unthinkable, accepting the fact that conservation is no longer about trying to preserve a static view of the world, but to respond to the fact that changes are inevitable, and to see some very good people start to engage with the ideas of what that future could be like and what we can do to influence it in a positive way.
I think it's a very valuable process, and it comes back to getting this language into the economic framework.
And I think, for me, I think in the last session particularly, getting a sense that we shouldn't be waiting to intervene. We should be thinking about the fact that new cities are being created at an alarming rate. Large areas of land are being put under agriculture in parts of Africa. The Arctic is opening up like never before. Greenland's opening up. Each of those, instead of being seen as a negative, could be turned to an enormous opportunity for action interventions to see how, on the one hand, you could be promoting biodiversity through better policies and monitoring whether this happens, because you won't be able to intervene in all these settings that are going to change.
So, what next?
I had not realized to what extent the four types of actors that are present in this room, that is enterprise, government, NGOs, and academia, have converged over the last 10 years.
People think that they've got 100 years to act. If you say biodiversity futures in 100 years, the question is, how much time have you really got to act? And that time horizon is not 100 years. It might be a year or two at the most.
Whether we actually manage to get across the magnitude of what has to be done is the crucial thing. And yeah, we were addressing that. And that's what I have to feel pleased about.